to play quarterfinals against one of the best clubs in this league, Bayern München, and one of the best team. We prepared well, we're training every day, so it will be tough games, and I hope we can go to the next round.
We are confident. Of course, our aim is to win the competition. Facing Football Club Barcelona is going to be really tough, as they are one of the best teams. So it's not going to be easy, but of course we want to be ready. We are going to be ready. And I'm really confident of myself and my partners, and I'm sure that we can do it.
It won't be easy, but it will be thrilling. I am sure of that. And that, of course, is because these are two historic giants of football that have plenty of legendary players amongst their ranks, just like the legendary cards that you can find in your premium club packs. We saw earlier what was on offer from FC Barcelona. Let's take a look then at what is also involved for FC Bayern Munich whenever it comes to these premium club packs. Looks very good indeed. And I tell you what else looks very good is the fact that we're about to kick off our first matchup of the day. So let's go ahead and see who's going to be involved in game one. We were talking about strategies and approaches, and it looks as though it's going to be the two captains. Oh, I can hear Harry in the background there. Be great to get his actual verbal thoughts in a moment, just besides the sounds that he's making there. But we've got two captains. They're going to be coming out swinging in the Palma. We already said it, 12 goals, the leading scorer, scooping up awards, one of the players of the competition so far. Then you've got Jose as well, even though scoring a fair amount less, and an even spread of the results, a win, a draw, and a loss. Don't be fooled. This is going to be a fabulous matchup. We'll get to the analysis in a moment. I just want to also take a quick second to remind you all about our wonderful referee, Sergio Barra, who's going to be with us again today and tomorrow, and he's very much focused and laser locked into making sure that everybody follows the rules of the tournament and comply as well. So guys, going back to that first matchup, I've obviously got to get your reaction then. Harry, I think we heard it from you, but Wes as well. This is both teams coming out swinging. It's exactly maybe what we could have expected based on what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, we were wondering where the money was going to be put on the proverbial table, whether or not you'd keep some aside. But no, both these teams putting out their captains first to lock horns, Wes. It could not. I know I say this every week, but it could not be more perfectly set up for us here.
Yeah, I will translate that audible sound that you made into an adjective. Tasty. That's exactly what this game is. Both captains leading the charge in knockout stages, in knockout football. This has got all the makings of an absolute classic.
Yeah, that it does. Thank you so much, of course, to Semra in the studio, making sure we are on our way through the knockout stages, which are just moments away. Kicking off quarter-final number one, Barcelona taking on Bayern München. I don't need to say much more than that, but unfortunately my job means that I have to. These two players, Jose and the Palma, two standouts for their teams with very different contrasting ways to this stage, whereas the Palma and Barcelona flew through the group stages, however Bayern on the other side. It was essentially a great escape. They needed to wait until the final game of the final match of the entire group stage to book their place here. But the important thing is they've made it here, and they're kicking us off here left to right.
Yeah, I think if you're a Bayern Munich fan, it doesn't matter how you got here. You got here. That's the main thing. You've got one of those top 3 spaces. Of course, as you were talking about Barcelona, free scoring at will, and we haven't quite yet seen the best of Bayern Munich, which would be, I would say, probably a worry to the rest of the competition as a whole, because we know that on their day, Jose, Mestre, Alex can all put in brilliant games of eFootball. So this might be one for the books here.
Early corner then to Bayern. Swung in towards Lewandowski. No connection made there. I think the worry for Bayern fans is that the man controlling and captaining the Barcelona club has been free scoring. Leading goal scorer of the entire competition so far with 12 goals is De Palma. But we've seen Jose pull out some great performances in the past. Most recently against a 3-time world champion in Uzmakabil.
Yeah, I think the other thing to note from De Palma's performances last week was that he can be caught and he can have goals conceded. We saw it against, I think it was Irma, it was last week, where shipped 4 in against Roma. So it can be got at. It's just a case of whether Jose has the technical kind of nuances to make that happen.
Sabitzer with a stunning cross straight at Neto in the Barcelona goalkeeper strip, of course, the home strip for the Catalan club. The changed all white of Bayern München. If you're just joining us, I'm going to be reminding you of this throughout the day, but this is now a best of 3 games. We will go to extra time and penalties if it is still drawn at the end of 90 and 120 respectively, but changes the complexion of these matches. There's no points up for grabs now. It's all about just winning 2 of the 3 matches. And you will advance here in the knockout stages. First real chance to canter forward here for the Palma. Given the ball away though, opening 20 has been pretty solid if you're a Bayern fan.
Please turn your
waiting
attention
for us. We haven't missed a goal so far. That's what I'm most pleased about, because we now kick off the second half of game 1 of our first quarter-final. And it is still 0-0 between the Palma and Jose. Of course, thank you all very much at home, wherever you're watching us, for your patience as we tackle some of these technical gremlins. But, Wes, now let's put ourselves in the minds of the players. You've had a bit of an extended break, a bit more than you'd maybe have anticipated at this stage of the match. Do you think that's going to be playing in one of these players' favours, or do you think it's as you were to kick off this second half?
Well, I think it's as you were, in the sense that, you know, both of them had the kind of the stoppage, as it were. Both of them had the same type of things to deal with. So, you know, again, it's then going to be a case of how you combat that extended break. It might give you a bit of time to refresh. It might give you a bit of time to just kind of relax. I mean, we saw, at least from the stats, and we saw from some of the gameplay that we were kind of watching whilst we were waiting for power to be restored, that Jose was dominating possession. I think it was 69% worth at half time. So, again, whether he can kind of get himself back into that rhythm, or whether the extended break may have dislodged him.
Well, it is Barcelona and their captain, the Palma, attacking from left to right here. Of course, as you said, Jose in the first half, lots of the ball. That's something the Palma is going to have to be very wary of, because the more Jose grows into this game, the more he's going to try and carve out a chance with his Bayern München team that could potentially win this first game. A reminder, this is best of 3 territory now. Extra time and penalties if needed, but we need a winner in each of the games you see today.
Something to keep your eye on as well. Just underneath where you can see our 2 players' cameras are the stamina bars. This will be where it starts to come into effect, because, you know, you can starve your opponent of the ball, but, you know, it's not going to go to a draw anymore. It's extra time, so you've got to be smarter with how you use that stamina.
The Palma so good in and around these areas, but that's a bit of a misplaced pass. Might just spring a Bayern counter-attack here. Koeman on this near side. Can potentially get a delivery in. Double touch unsuccessful, and Sergio Busquets here for the Palma can bring the ball away, but it will only result in a throw-in in his own territory. We see the possession statistics just flash up there for a moment. 61%. It's coming down, but Bayern still with most of the ball here.
Yeah, it's about the quality of where that possession is. I think a lot of the Palma's possession is coming from regaining the ball and trying to make something work, and you can see he's starting to make little inroads as and where he can.
Depay lays it off to Dembele, trying to cut inside, but as we approach the final 20 minutes of this game 1, not a whole lot of chances to be spoken of. The occasion certainly getting to these 2 Spaniards here to kick off the knockout stages. Aubameyang now could maybe slip in. I think that was Depay through the middle. Now Sane. Goals at this stages, these types of stages of the match, are absolutely like gold dust with 15 in-game minutes to go. So who will stick? Who will twist? It's Aubameyang regaining possession of the ball here. Memphis, though, unable to get in behind, but it will trickle through for a corner.
Yeah, and kind of good news if you're a Barcelona fan. The Palma's starting to get more upfield, starting to get more of a cutting edge going forward. You can see that their formation almost mirroring each other, as we can see on both sides. 3-5-2 being deployed, and you can see it's almost to kind of potentially match their opponent. You know, you look at the players that are on show here, of course, as well. It's hard to balance it to make sure that you stay underneath that 2,300 team strength level, that collective strength level. You have to, you know, manage your team accordingly, and that's what these guys are doing.
Almost swung in quickly.
Coming on to replace him is...
See those trademark subs, Braithwaite and Traore introduced here for Barcelona. Final 10 in-game minutes approaching. Who will carve out the first real chance we've seen? Lewandowski trying to get in behind here, goes for goal straight away. So called into action, and it will be a corner to the Bavarians.
But it's like we've said, you know, at this stage of the competition, these guys will have seen each other play and will have seen each other and know what each other are capable of in those situations. Now is the time to try and do something a little bit different. Take that first time shot rather than try a dummy or a double touch or trying to shift your weight inside. Instead, take it on Lewandowski's strong foot, try and force a save out of the goalkeeper, and they've done well to recoup it to a corner here.
Fatty at the near post gets the corner away, but for the Palmer, he's been in free and fine goal-scoring form this season. Jose here has well and truly nullified that, but there's still time left on the clock. One ball looking for Aubameyang, I believe that was, is just mistimed and will grant possession. Quite far up the pitch, actually, for an offside call here to Jose. Into the final 5 minutes. A reminder, if it stays this way at the end of regulation time, we will be going to extra time. We need winners from each of the games you will see today. And oh, Joshua Kimmich has just been sent off. I missed that one, Wes. That must have been a second yellow.
It must have been. I think it's caught everybody off guard there. I think he, you know, again, slightly cynical on the halfway line as a challenge, but not. It must have been a second booking. But again, now, you know, in previously in the group stage, we'd look at this and go, oh, okay, well, you know, you can grind this out for the last 5 minutes of the game. Now it becomes a completely different story. It's now a case of you're going to have potentially 5 minutes and then potentially extra time and penalties. So it becomes a whole different dynamic. Sendings off now are kind of more of a talking point than they've been previously.
So Bayern down to 10 men. Might that be the spurring on that the Palmer needs here?
2 added minutes has been
On the
indicated.
other side, Jose will certainly want to try and keep this one steady, maybe play 4 penalties here. But there's a long way to go. It's the final attack of game 1. In regular time at least will go towards the Palmer. Here is Braithwaite. Pass to Gavi is no good. And we are headed, Wes, in our first game of the knockout stages into extra time. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a big man missing in the top left-hand corner of that Dream Team sheet.
Yeah, and I would say to those at home, if you thought that the previous match days were long, strap yourselves in, get yourselves a large drink, get yourself some popcorn and a blanket. We're going to be here a while because I think these games will get more cagey as time goes on. You can tell that nobody wants to give an inch. So I think that a lot of these games, you know, touch wood, at least from our point of view, they might just go to extra time penalties further on.
Hear the distinctive voice of Alex Aguathil there, just towards the end of that short break, just giving Jose a bit of advice. And a question to you, Wes, and it's a bit of a trivial one, so I'm not sure if you'll know the question, but or the answer. I'll ask the question anyway. Now that Bayern are down to 10 and these Dream Team collective strengths are limited to 2,300, does that mean theoretically Jose could bring on some stronger players now that Kimmich is off the pitch, or would he still count towards that collective strength?
He would still count towards the collective strength, I believe. I've not studied it at length, but I would imagine I think that would be the case. However, even saying that, you know, getting your team to a team or a collective strength of 2,300 in the first place, there might not necessarily be that many players to bring off the bench anyway, because I think a lot of these players will take probably the weakest players that they've got onto the bench to try and essentially make the best of what they can with that restriction. So I think on the Bayern Munich bench, I believe the only other player that was on there was Thomas Muller, so of note, who would be brought on to be able to influence the game. So you know, it speaks a lot to how these teams manage their players. Do you go for a more balanced approach where you have a lot of players on the bench to bring subs on, or do you make it so that it's no one there?
Oh, that touchdown to Braithwaite, and the manual save was just as good. The first real opportunity of note, thanks to a lovely touchdown, was matched by a fantastic manual save.
There's the Dane Braithwaite, just broke through, and you could see the reaction from the Palmer. He knows how big that chance is, considering there's not been that many notable chances for Barcelona at this point. And again, a massive save from Jose. Danger's not over.
Corner had to be cleared, but the pressure's still on. Piqué stayed up. Traore on the turn, tries to get his strike away. Braithwaite will get the rub of the green and the strike away, but, well, the first half of extra time is coming to a close, and 10 men of Bayern are holding strong for now. Second half to come, and surely at this point, Wes, surely Jose's mind has to be on penalties. There's no way he nicks a winner here, right?
Well, that's the $1 million question here. It's, can you potentially steal one with 10 men? But for the Palme, he hasn't really had, like I said, that many clear-cut chances. I mean, we keep seeing the Bayern Munich team, and to look at what you were saying in terms of the team strength, it looks as though it may have had a slight effect on that team strength, because I believe when we first looked at Jose's lineup, if my memory serves me correctly, it was 23.99. It's now 22.87. So maybe in between the substitute that he made earlier in the game plus that sending off, it may have had an impact. The issue becomes, of course, is you have to bank potentially on getting a sending off to potentially bolster your bench. So I don't think anybody wants to go with the mindset of going, right, minute one, we're going to get somebody sent off, and that's going to be the way we're going to go. Because if you look at the rest of the bench, that, you know, it's 58, 59 rated players, there's nobody of standard that you can bring off the bench outside of the Thomas Muller that's 82. So I think at that point, even if you do have that ability to bring on more powerful players, Bayern don't have that in the locker at the moment.
So second half of extra time has kicked off. A reminder, we need a winner in each of the games you will see today. So if it stays this way, penalties are where we're headed. Has the Bayern defender just touched the ball? I believe he has there before it's gone over the line. So that will be a corner to be taken now by Pedri. Driven in. Busquets will reclaim the second ball. It's fired across the face, and it'll be another corner here, Wes.
Yeah, bit of sustained pressure. Again, it's you know, as we've seen how devilish these corner kicks can be, it's about whether you can put the right delivery in and get the right result. And Jose seems to be kind of beating these corners away from his goal, but the danger is not quite over yet.
Siege mentality here for Bayern. There's no doubt they will come under heavy pressure as De Palma tries to push the advantage here. There will be a break on the cards for Jose. The problem is he's committed so many men forward now. It's left him a little short-changed at the back. Braithwaite. Upper Mancano has done incredibly well there, and that will just cool the jets for now. To the 120th minute, we will have, of course, added time. I can't imagine there being much though. Yeah, not a single minute added on. So maybe the last attack of the period will go to Bayern, but the referee has seen enough. The ball not advanced up the pitch enough to play on. So our first game of the knockout stages had a bit of everything, Wes, apart from goals. We'll be headed to spot kicks to decide this one.
It's our first penalty shootout, our first game of the day as well to involve a penalty shootout. And again, it's going to be, how does your nerve hold up?
So we start the shootout. It will be Bayern to kick first. Lewandowski steps up and is saved. Advantage already to Barcelona to take the lead in the shootout. Steps up Aubameyang, and that one is saved as well. Great goalkeeping on display here. The Bayern with their second is tucked away nicely. Neto sent the wrong way. Now it's Braithwaite to try and keep pace with the Bayern penalties. Goes the same way. One apiece here. And this could go either way. Sane, a lot of power on it, and it is just past the hand of the Barca keeper. Fati to step up. It's a long run up, and it's off the bar, off the post. So much power. That's going to give the advantage now to Bayern München. Müller with the power and the placement to make it 3. So Barcelona have to score this penalty. Adama Traore with the run up and tucks it away. If Bayern score this, they will win game 1. It is Leon Goretzka versus Neto. Hearts in mouths! Advantage Bayern in quarter-final number 1. Jose is taken down the leading goal scorer with 10 men.
Yeah.
The Palmer with a rare defeat in this competition puts Bayern in the driver's seat here, Wes. A nervy penalty shootout. Not too many highlights to speak of, but the important thing for Bayern fans is that their team now are in control of this match.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get there. In these scenarios, in knockout football, it doesn't matter how you get the beautiful manual save there. You can see that Palmer knew that that was the big opportunity he had to just get ahead in regulation. Just couldn't quite get there, and instead it's left to Leon Goretzka in the penalty shootout to fire it home. And again, it's kind of job half done for Bayern Munich. You've nullified the main attacking threat of Barcelona. The issue now becomes is there's potentially other threats coming down the stretch.
Well, Semra, we had power cuts, we had penalties, but it is the Bavarians who are in control of this tie now.
That they certainly are. We did have a power cut, in fact, in the entire city. So unfortunately, it was completely out of our hands. But the good news is that we're back up and running. And thank goodness, because we needed to hear your dulcet tunes, the two of you, on commentary there. We missed you in that opening 45 minutes of game 1. So I'm very delighted to have you both back with us. Having said that, let's go ahead and roll on into game 2 then and not waste any more time. And we can see who's going to be lining up for this one between these two heavyweights. And it does seem as though there's going to be a very big, heavy hitter coming up, at least in the case of FC Barcelona, which we'll see here in just a moment. I'm just teasing it here because I do know who is going to be featuring, but we can't show you just yet. So while we're sitting tight, oh, there we go, now we can. So the news is out there, you have it. It's going to be Roxa against Mestre. Roxa is second in the goal scoring charts with 9 goals to his name. He's already scooped up a best goal award, and he's picked up loads of points for Barcelona, having won 2 and lost only 1. Having said that, he does share quite a fair in common with Mestre as well, who has also scored 9 goals so far this season. But on top of that, the only difference really between the two of them right now is the fact that he's undefeated. So from a psychological point of view, do you think that Bayern Munich, the Germans, they have a slight upper hand, considering that they're in the driving seat after the result of game 1, but also because Mestre has yet to lose a game this season?
I think so. I think when you look at the scheme of best of threes and the way that knockout football kind of lends itself to these types of results, Wes, is that if you're in the driver's seat, the pressure's off, you can maybe start to try something new. You can start to put into practice some experimental tactics that you were thinking of. But I think the big takeaway from this Game 2 draw is that both clubs happy to put their strongest foot forward and work back from there. So we're seeing now Roxa and Mestre go head to head. I think these two arguably are two of the best players from their clubs.
Yeah, and that is the tactic that these two clubs are going with. Put your best two out there, and then just see where the chips fall. I think at this point in time, I think if you're Bayern Munich, yes, you have a 1-game cushion, which I suppose is good in the standpoint of, if Mestre does lose this to Roxa, then at least there is a game 3. But I think all the pressure transports itself to Barcelona now. You know, Roxa has got to come through for this Barcelona team, because again, if he doesn't win this game, he's out, as is his team. Whereas, you know, we've seen it from Mestre, we've seen it from Bayern, that they have an ability to grind out results when they really need them. We saw it against Monaco. We've seen certainly in that first game where it was almost Operation Nullify the Parma, which was a complete success, because that's what they've been able to do. Here is a completely different prospect, is that we know how aggressive and how forward-thinking Roxa can be. It's a completely different animal coming down the stretch here.
I love that bit of synchronicity between the two players there, both scratching their chins, just pondering what type of game to expect ahead of them. Of course, thank you very much to Semra in the studio. We're moments away from kicking off game 2. And a reminder, as you will be reminded most of today, these are now best of 3s. Bayern have won the first game, so if they win either of the next 2 in this best of 3 series, they will advance into the semi-finals. So a lot on the line here for Mestre. He was the man they called upon, if I remember correctly, against Guifera to get them to this stage to complete the great escape of Group A. And he's kicking off here from left to right on the other side for Barcelona. 1-0 down in the series. They're calling upon the new signing, Roxa, European champion on national duty with Serbia. And that was a 1v1 competition as well. So it's going to be tough here for Mestre. He's going to have his wits about him, and similarly for his opponent here, Roxa, as well. Swung in towards that back post very dangerously indeed, but the ball will overturn possession to Barcelona.
Yeah, you can tell just even in the opening stretches of this game, it gets the feeling that this is going to be a far more open prospect than I think we were giving you credit for in the first game. First game was a little bit cagey, was a little bit kind of ropey, for lack of a better adjective, in the sense of it was happening, the game was, whereas I think this one is going to be a little bit more forward thinking, it's be a little bit more open, and I don't think we'll see as conservative a play here, because I think from Mestre's point of view, he'll know that the gaps are there should he be able to find the space.
And on Roxa's side, he's not the the type to back off from a challenge, so he's going to be stepping up to the plate very nicely here for Barcelona, which should lend us for a very nice quarter-final game 2. 10 minutes have gone already. The referee's seen something he hasn't liked, but before that, most of the forward play came from the Bayern side here in their changed white strip. It's nervy times in these knockout stages, and Roxa gets his stunning strike away first time. Blocked by the Bayern defence, but we will see a lot of unforced errors, I feel, today, and it will be the players and the teams who can limit those as Roxa goes for a strike. Very optimistic indeed. But it will be those players, Wes, who can keep their nerve and limit the unforced errors that will find the most success today.
Yeah, it's going to be competing and putting your best foot forward and putting your best game together in high pressure stakes, and it's going to be a case of limiting your errors as much as you can and then capitalizing on anything that comes from your opponent, because at this level of eFootball, any unforced error, it's almost like a gift to these guys. They will capitalize on anything and everything they can.
20 minutes gone. Bayern 0, Barcelona 0. Of course, all to play for in the knockout stages. Still in the quarter-finals, however. This stage of the competition, you cannot afford to lose your head, you cannot afford to lose the games, and you certainly can't afford to lose any goals against you. Which is why we may see some of these nervy affairs. Barcelona backed against the wall after that penalty loss in game 1. With most of the ball here, Wes.
Yeah, they seemingly seem to be going at each other. Both teams seem to be kind of trying to make the most of the possession that they're having. I think we're seeing kind of defensive blocks as and where the ball seems to be breaking down with that final pass. We just seem to be seeing defensive blocks. So both teams really looking to get that first goal and make the statement.
Lewandowski turning in the box, and it's taken a wicked deflection. Almost to the detriment of the Barcelona defence, but they've survived that scare. Speaking of, we saw just a moment there the finishing table in Bayern's group. They left it very late indeed. But Mestre stepping up against Guifera. Man with 2 world titles to his name. Allows Bayern München to participate in this stage of the competition. With 10 minutes to go till half-time, such a strong player to field in a game 2 is Mestre, isn't he, Wes? Because he's already come up in the clutch for the club, and they find themselves now 1 game away from featuring in the semi-finals this season.
Yeah, you talk about players that you'd want. These two are up on the top of the very top of the list.
Kingsley Coman has struck in the first goal. The first goal in the knockout stages in regular time goes to Bayern München. And it's a huge one because, as we just said, Wes, 1 game away from featuring in our semi-finals.
You can see there, just managed to just shake off the defender with that through ball. You'll see it again here. It's a crucial moment in the tie, crucial moment in the game as well. And Titi just doesn't really get across his man at all. Koeman sticks that willingly in the back of the net. And we'll see the celebration from Mestre. Very happy to get a lead. And again, you'll need it. You will certainly need it at this point. 6 minutes to go here. Game's not over though. Let's put that in perspective. It is a goal. It is the first goal that we've seen. It's just now a case of, if you're Mestre, do you try and press ahead and get another one, or do you try and kind of tuck your tail and hope that you can hold out against Roxa, because Roxa will be itching to get down the other end of the field and do some damage of his own.
He will. Still an entire half to play. So definitely worth remembering, as you said, Wes, a lot of eFootball still to be played here. For now, it is advantage Bayern München. He's still coming forward here, Mestre. Gnabry calls ter Stegen into action, and Lewandowski is cleared off the line. It's still coming at Barcelona here. Goretzka, Gnabry cannot find Lewandowski, and a frantic end to the first half, of which Barcelona and Roxa, they really survived. They were hanging on there.
Yeah, it got to that point. There was a very good chance. I think Roxa just called the keeper out just a little bit too early, and it presented half a chance to Mestre.
Well, we can take a little listen to what the players have to say to each other here. Of course, teammates alongside Roxa and Mestre. Well, the second half is now underway. If it stays this way at full time, Bayern are on their way to the semi-finals. What do Roxa and Barcelona have to say about that, if anything? That's what we'll find out in the next 45 minutes. As Barca come at Bayern München from left to right.
Yeah, if you're Roxa, you're probably looking to keep the ball on the ground and really use the pace and the dribbling expertise and the passing expertise that this Barcelona side have. If you're Bayern Munich, you're probably going to try and go a little bit aerial, maybe test Gerard Piqué at the back. Free kick given there. See Roxa feeling that might have been slightly soft.
Yeah, much to Roxa's disdain, the referee has given a free kick in a very promising area, which I think is perfect for, as you were saying, to test the physical strength of the likes of Lewandowski. But that one will not cut the mustard there for Mestre, and I think he knows that one. Bit of a miss-hit from his player there.
Yeah, that one's certainly not making the scrapbook for passages of play from Bayern Munich this season. But again, at this point in time, they have the lead. So it's, we've said this countless times before, game stats will tell you only part of the story. The real story gets written with, what the scoreline is. That's the real takeaway.
Lewandowski through the middle, feeding Gnabry as well. Back to Lewandowski, and oh, it's wide. Agonisingly wide of the target. Anywhere would have done there from Lewandowski, but it goes horribly, horribly wrong, and it could have doubled the lead there for Bayern.
Yeah, we spoke at length a little bit. I think it was when Gnabry slid in, almost in a very similar kind of position for Mestre against Guifera. We talked about those types of finishes, that they can be inconsistent, and that just goes to show that on one day they will nest in the back of the net, and the other ones they will sail wide.
So a third, or should I say 2/3 of the game two already gone. Barcelona backs against the wall. De Jong looking for Fati, and no, not another one. Roxa up out of his seat, and I tell you what, I'm not far behind him, because that one, whereas as we take a listen to the players, should have been a goal.
Vamos, vamos, confía en ti. Atento en defensa y arriba la vas a ganar. Vamos, vamos.
Solo vive de tus errores. Vamos, nene, eres muy superior. Vamos, estás jugando de locos.
Spanish is not quite what it used to be, but the word rapido is talking about speed, and that's what they're asking here is, has this Barcelona side got more pace than the Bayern Munich defence? And more importantly, where are those substitutions going to be? You're needing the quicker players at this point. Again, we go back to that opportunity. It was a great find across the box. But again, we talk again about these first-time finishes, and you know, it's epitomised there again.
Well, Dembele in behind the defence here, and he's been wrestled to the floor as well. Referee unmoved, and you can see what Roxa thinks about that. Certainly more chances to be found here in game 2. There might be another one here if Robert Lewandowski has stayed onside, which he has. Thomas Muller to play it across to Lewandowski. Goalkeeper needed. Both players starting to find their feet here in the quarterfinals. This one a real chance.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the audio that we could hear, that my Spanish is a little bit rusty. Of course, we have Semra in the studio who's giving us a little bit of a kind of a translation there, that the guys are just telling him to keep his confidence up and to keep it going, and that he can be, you know, he's in the ascendancy, he needs to keep it going, which I would agree. You know, you are 1-0 up, you haven't got to do too much at this point, but there's 20 minutes to go, just keep that pressure on. But again, Roxa is creating chances, which it's you know, alarm bells are certainly ringing for Bayern, which I think it might be lending itself to why his teammates, you know, why Mestre's teammates are leaning in and going, look, you're still in the ascendancy, you're still winning, keep it going, you're doing better than Roxa is. Don't want necessarily to be true, of course, because we're seeing chances go either end.
Aubameyang almost sneaking in there. Bayern München just over 15 in-game minutes away from a spot in the semi-finals. Another reminder for you, best of 3 is what we are playing here in the knockout stages. Memphis Depay, Dembele, it's just not coming off here as advantage is played. And I think it's in the favour of Bayern. Got to go for it here if you're Roxa. There is no ifs, no buts, no coconuts. You have to get a result here to keep Barcelona in with a chance in this quarter-final. And I think these changes here, Wes, are going to signify Roxa's intent to go for it.
Yeah, well, we're seeing Bayern just try and afford a wide option there, maybe with the design of clearing it down the line to Koeman, just to maybe try and eke out some time. You can see the defensive red wall that is being built by Bayern Munich here. I let out a chuckle more for the fact that this is exactly the type of thing that I would do if I was playing at home. If you are in the ascendancy and you are trying to grind out a result, you will try and defensively reinforce yourself as much as you can. Of course, the issue then becomes, of course, if you concede, it's hard to break out of that mentality once you're in it. So I think, you know, Mestre, gotta be a little bit careful here.
Donde está Uva es donde está Lucas, ¿no?
Esta uva es donde está, es tu parte derecha, ¿vale?
Sí,
lo que tengas tú a la derecha. Exacto, Lucas.
Sí, exacto a eso, que el mole tiene más músculo. Y si hay que tirarlo, se tira, ¿eh? Tú sabes dónde está Rico, ¿eh? Confía en ti. Sabes hacer esto, ¿eh? Vamos, son solo 10 minutos. Poco.
The trio of Spaniards then in their 3rd season with Bayern München. 10 in-game minutes away from a semi-final spot. All Mestre has to do here is hang on. He might even go for it as Koeman has Lewandowski in the middle. Tried to play it towards Gnabry, I believe, but that's just going to give the ball back to Roxa. It's looking like one-way traffic at this point.
He keeps going to that out ball down the right-hand side of Kingsley Coman, but again, got to be careful about it coming back down the other way. That's where point where they can take advantage of this. If you're Roxa, you've got to try and figure out, unlock this defence.
PK joining the attack from the back here as well. Aubameyang plays it across, waiting was Depay, but that's going to kill off a lot of time here in game 2. And Gnabry salvaged this. The bounce is too high, so that might just give Roxa one last chance here. If there's a time to find a goal, it has to be now. Look at the bodies forward here. But instead it's going to come the other way. Or will it? Final chance for Barcelona. Aubameyang. Pedri plays it across and it's over the bar. And that will signal full time. Messi survives. Bayern survive. Roxa absolutely livid.